Good Tuesday afternoon, and thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Just in this afternoon, the U of M needs a new women's hockey coach. Athletic Director Mark Coyle announcing today that the school is parting ways with Brad Frost. Frost has been with the school for nearly 2 decades and led the team to several national championships and the team's legendary undefeated season in 2012 and 2013. In a statement, Coyle says now is the right time for a new voice to lead the program. New this afternoon, a California nonprofit hospital system is planning to acquire Allina Health. That deal, announced today, would transform Allina into the Upper Midwest division of Sutter Health, but keep the Allina Health name and headquarters in Minneapolis. If this acquisition happens, the two hospital systems would have a combined 39 hospitals and employ 88,000 people. Breaking this afternoon, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center is resigning over the war with Iran. Joe Kent is a retired Green Beret and a longtime supporter of President Donald Trump. He said in a post on X that he cannot support the ongoing war in Iran and that Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Kent blames pressure from Israel for the U.S. involvement. New today, Israel claims it has killed one of Iran's top security officials as U.S. and Israeli airstrikes continue to pound the country. Israel also says it killed the head of the Basij force, a militia used to suppress protests in Iran. Rafe Sanchez is in Beirut with the details.
Israel today is claiming that it has killed another 2 senior members of the Iranian regime. They say that they have taken out Ali Larijani, who is the secretary of the National Security Council, but has basically been Iran's de facto wartime leader since this conflict broke out. With the killing of the former supreme leader, current supreme leader, wounded, not clear how involved he is in decision-making, it has been Larijani who has been taking a lot of the day-to-day calls about running the country. The other figure killed, according to Israel, is the head of the Basij militia. Now, this is the internal militia responsible for a lot of repression on behalf of the Iranian regime. When protesters took to the streets in January, it was often the Basij who were sent out with weapons to confront them. If Israel has indeed taken out this figure, it does indicate potentially that Israel is still holding on to hopes of potential regime change in Iran, that the protesters might be encouraged to head back to the streets. Here in Lebanon, Israel is expanding its ground offensive in the south of the country. It says it's aimed against Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed militant group, but many Lebanese fear that Israel is preparing to seize the southern end of this country and turn it into a buffer zone, displacing the entire civilian population there. More than 800,000 Lebanese have been displaced so far. That is 1 in 7 in this small country. Rafe Sanchez, NBC News, Beirut.
Happening right now, Cuba is in the middle of an energy and an electric crisis. The island country suffering from hours-long blackouts and fuel shortages. Leaders say the oil blockade happening right now in the Strait of Hormuz is partially to blame. Right now, officials in Cuba are investigating exactly what caused the blackout. Right now, Cuba is negotiating with the U.S. to try to get oil to the island and help restore the power grid. Also developing today, a federal judge is stepping in, temporarily pausing the end of temporary protected status for Somalis. The TPS status was set to expire today. Take a look at this. Minneapolis city officials posted on social media encouraging those with TPS to talk to a lawyer and seek other legal avenues to try to stay in the country. Right now, there are roughly 400 Somali nationals in Minnesota with TPS. Temporary protected status was offered to Somali nationals back in the 1990s as they fled civil war in the country. The Trump administration vowed to end it back in January, encouraging Somali nationals to self-deport by offering a free plane ticket and a $1,000 exit bonus. Friday's ruling from the federal judge gives both the feds and immigration advocates the chance to file arguments. But this is just the start of what could be a lengthy legal battle. A former Minnesota state trooper accused of killing a woman after crashing his squad car into her vehicle will stand trial in Olmsted County. Shane Roper's lawyers had asked to move the trial out of the county, saying they wouldn't be able to find an impartial jury there with the extensive media coverage. But a judge said news coverage has been factual, and most of it dates back to a year ago when the crash happened. Roper is charged with hitting 18-year-old Olivia Flores' car while going more than 80 miles per hour near a Rochester mall. His trial has not been scheduled. Today at the state capitol, lawmakers are expected to hold their first vote on a law aiming to improve daycare safety. Lawmakers will vote on Harvey's Law, named after an 11-month-old killed at a Savage daycare last fall. They will also hear testimony on several other bills aimed at increasing transparency and oversight in Minnesota child care centers. This Change.org petition, created by a Minnesota mom advocating for greater transparency, has gained over 6,000 signatures in the last several weeks. The House has heard testimony from the parents of Harvey Mucklebust. They told lawmakers cameras wouldn't physically stop someone from harming a child, but they would help families see and understand what happened. Some child care providers pushed back, raising concerns about privacy and security.
They create accountability, they provide evidence, they allow for immediate action to protect children.
What can improve safety in hospitals and in childcare is proper training, supervision, ratios, protocols and procedures, inspections, higher pay for staff, and more.
The state cleared Rocking Horse Ranch to reopen last week, 6 months after Harvey was killed there. If Harvey's Law passes, Minnesota would become the first state to require cameras for child care centers. Today, a move to ban so-called ghost guns in Minnesota is moving forward at the state capitol. Ghost guns are weapons that can be 3D printed or assembled at home without serial numbers. The new bill would prohibit people without federal firearms licenses from purchasing or selling ghost guns. Possession of one would become a crime with a grace period for people who applied for a serial number but haven't yet received one. Governor Walz says this bill is one of his legislative priorities this session. Well, some of you may still be busy digging out after this weekend's big snowstorm, and that includes neighborhood groups in Minneapolis clearing snow for some people who need some extra help. It's part of a city pilot program. Heidi Wigdahl checked in with 4 different neighborhoods to see how it's been going this winter.
Minnesota winters can get long.
Gotcha.
So when more snow falls in the middle of March, these neighbors are a welcome sight in an expanding pilot program across Minneapolis.
We're just going to run the snowblower to it since we're already here.
Marcus Kare is in charge of the Harrison neighborhood's snow patrol in North Minneapolis.
It's kind of good to be here for young people to step outside and be seen by their neighbors.
Harrison is one of 8 neighborhoods chosen by the city as part of a neighborhood snow patrol pilot now in its 2nd year. The program gives grants to neighborhood organizations to help remove snow for seniors, people with a disability, and those with a temporary illness or injury. Each neighborhood decides what works best for them. In the Harrison neighborhood, people are paid to shovel both busy sidewalks and homes.
People are paying their light bills. They're buying food for their families. If not the finances, they're just here because they want to be part of such an amazing, just being outside. As soon as we get outside, people start coming outside.
The day after it snows, I'll spend the whole day snow blowing.
Alyssa Isle is the sole person paid to remove snow in the Bottineau neighborhood in northeast Minneapolis, doing both busy sidewalks like near bus stops and 8 residents who need help.
And that doesn't just impact them. It impacts anybody who's trying to utilize the sidewalks to commute, to walk to work, or to walk to get to public transit. That can make things really, really difficult.
There's definitely a need and a want.
Jesus Casares-Rios, engagement coordinator for the Whittier Alliance in South, says they pay shovelers to help out 10 residents.
It's going extremely well, if I'm being honest. I would love for more residents to apply next year if we do end up applying to get funds again. I think we will, just because this year has been so successful with it.
In southwest Minneapolis, the Fulton Snow Angels are all volunteers. Any funds go towards gear and supplies.
So far, so good. The beginning of the winter was really snowy. We had a bit of a break over the last month or so, and then called back into action yesterday. So it's been up and down, but hey, it's Minnesota winter. What do you expect?
Martin Petrovskis is one of 15 volunteers this season. He's matched to 1 resident. So far, the Fulton Snow Angels have helped clean 44 sidewalks.
The more people that sign up, the more people that we can help, especially with the snow this past weekend. My own shovel broke, so I'm sure there's plenty of people in the same situation, so it's always good to have as many helpers as possible.
So while the winters may be long,
we're raising the spirits and the morale of our neighborhood just by helping people.
The city says more than 100 residents are receiving help. Besides the neighborhood program, the city has a second pilot program where city workers clear some of the most high-impact pedestrian routes. Stick with us. There's more news and weather coming up after the break.